Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Mathunjwa. We do appreciate it. I think let's just first get into what your demands actually are and whether or not your members are currently on strike.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity, and good day to your viewers. Indeed, our members of AMCU and National Union of Mine Workers, which is NUM, they are currently on this protected strike, demanding the living wage, demanding the 1,000 as an increment and other benefits that has to be looked at by the employer in order to improve their livelihoods. Yes, indeed, yesterday we did present the memorandum, but however, the arrogance of Sibanye-Stillwater, they never came to receive. Neil Froneman never came and received this memorandum. He sent his black managers, who are his stooges, to come and receive this memorandum. We find it very strange that when things are good, he's a CEO. When things are steep, he sent black managers to pit them against the workers to receive this memorandum. So hence, the memorandum was never delivered yesterday or handed over to Sibanye.
Speak to us about whether or not you think your march yesterday was indeed successful, because you're indicating that the CEO did not come out and receive the memorandum. Ordinarily, that doesn't normally happen. They send out other officials as much as we want the CEO to come out and answer. But would you say that your march was successful yesterday?
Indeed. I mean, when you look at how the unity amongst the unions has presented yesterday, it shows clearly that we are getting somewhere. Because after 1994, these economic structures that were meant, structural economy that was meant for black people in South Africa, was never been disturbed. So we are irritating this status quo that has been protected by Sibanye-Stillwater. And the arrogance of Neil Froneman, which we call him a Prime Minister of South Africa, because yes, I mean, 2 weeks ago he's been insulting the same government, saying he is a failed state, the same government that issued the license to him to mine and make millions for himself. But at the end of the day, he's the same CEO who's got guards to call this government as a failed state. And he's benefiting out of it. So I think the unity of the working class, in particular AMCU and NUM, really is going to liberate the working class here in South Africa. And I know how the white monopoly capital work. It's so brutal. I think they will try to find out some other ways and means of how to distract and cause havoc amongst the workers. But we made our members to be aware and to be alert, not to allow Neil Froneman to provoke, because it does have this tendency of using state apparatus, especially SEPs, to provoke workers. But at this point in time, we feel very strong that the unity of AMCU and the National Union of Mine Workers, indeed the workers will definitely benefit out of this, because other people who are holding us back in terms of the economic emancipation to the majority of the black mine workers. Sibanye has killed over 52 breadwinners for the past financial year, but no one has ever been arrested. So we ask ourselves, where does Sibanye get this power that he can overrule everyone in South Africa? We never voted for Neil Froneman to be the president of the country or to be the person who's got a last word in the economy of this country. So the unity of AMCU and the National Union of Mine Workers will prove to him that we are not subhuman. We are not subhuman. We are not made out of his image. They are just a bunch of thieves. In the book of John chapter 10, verse 10, the thieves only come to destroy and steal. That is what these guys are masquerading as employers, as investors. These guys are thieves. They are stealing from the majority of the oppressed black people in South Africa. I think it is time now to teach him a lesson that he is not an alpha and omega of the livelihood or the future of the black workers in South Africa.
Mr. Mathunjwa, you said over 52 workers have been killed. Could you just elaborate on that? What did you mean by that?
Yes, I mean, if you look how many workers have been killed in platinum under Sibanye and how many workers have been killed in gold, there's nothing has ever happened to Sibanye Stillwater. He's got Section 72 of Mine Health and Safety Act that he's supposed to be arrested. He hasn't been arrested even today. Why? What is it that this guy has got so much power over this government? It's very questionable.
It seems as though we have now connected with Joseph from the NUM. How ironic that both of you are Joseph, but I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Oh, there's power, eh?
Yeah. I'm not sure if you can hear me, Joseph from the NUM, but perhaps maybe your stance on this march that was undertaken yesterday to Sibanye Stillwater. What are you hoping to achieve from this march that has been conducted by both you and AMCU yesterday? I think you might be on mute. Could you just unmute yourself?
Okay. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You can go ahead.
Come and try. Thank you very much. The march yesterday was to push the company to understand that the demand for the workers is very much important, and we are not going to budge on that. So that's why yesterday we marched to the company to show force. And that march was not just a child's play. It was to send a strong message to the company that the executives of the company are earning millions of money and on the expenses of workers. The same CEO of Fronaman is earning over 60 million a month, and workers are earning nothing. As you know, that the mine workers today, they are earning, the lowest mine worker is paid 9,500. That 1,500 is to try to push mine workers to 10,500. And it looks like the company seems that we are demanding a lot, while workers are going underground every day, down in the belly of the earth, doing everything to enrich the executives and the shareholders.
Perhaps let me ask you another question. So what I'm understanding is that Sibanye is only offering 5%. Are you willing to budge on this 5%, or are you only going to accept the 1,000 rand that's being asked for here? I think it's 10%.
That's why we engage in a strike. You will remember that Sibanye is the second biggest gold company in South Africa after Harmony. And then Sibanye Harmony has given the workers 1,000 without making any problem. And then Sibanye, the price of gold today is at its highest in 5 years. Even again, it is even increased more by the war that is taking place in Russia. So our demand of 1,000 is a demand that we are not going to budge on it. Sibanye must implement that 1,000. Otherwise, we are going to call off for a secondary strike in the Platinum Belt, because it is time for negotiation in the Platinum Belt. We will teach Sibanye a lesson if they don't want to listen to workers.
And then maybe just speak to us about the time frame that you have given Sibanye. Have you given them a time frame for them to meet these demands? What's your next plan and your step of action?
Unfortunately, yesterday Sibanye sent the junior managers to come and to take the demands from us. And then we did not hand over the demands to junior managers. The time frame usually is 7 days. But on Monday, we will be planning the next step, where we will then have to engage in another mass action whereby Sibanye, we are going to demand that workers will not disperse where they are going to gather until Fronaman come and take the memorandum of the workers.
Mr. Mathunjwa, maybe we can bring you here, in here, because what's interesting is that when we were at the investment conference, we were actually told about how much the mining sector has contributed to GDP, especially during the hard lockdown, and how it was one of the sectors of the economy that was able to basically survive during the hard lockdown, where other sectors really suffered. So it's interesting that you are saying that Sibanye-Stillwater is not cooperating and is refusing to give this 1,000 wage increase that you are asking for. What is your response to all of this? Because it seems as though you're quite stern in your approach to say there is money and you should be looking after your workers.
I think, firstly, everyone should understand that government does not own the minerals. The minerals are owned by the people of South Africa. Government is a custodian on our behalf. We therefore saying, if these companies, these mines, are making huge profits for the foreign direct investors, and they starve their workers who toil in the belly of the earth, let's rather revoke, take the license back, and give to our black brothers who are in business. We've got well-educated black brothers who are mining engineers, who are managers, who can run this mine better than. Let's make an example. Sianda Platinum in Amanda Belt bought the mine from Anglo. It is run by black consortium. That black company, which is Sianda Bahatla, has given us 1,500 increment. So with Sibanye owning all these gold mines, a monopoly in platinum in South Africa, why is he failing? So therefore, we are saying if Sibanye cannot pay this 1,000, we're going to approach the government to say, revoke the license, give these mines to black people. It is the right time now to bring what belongs to us. It's not that black people are not capable. Who are running these mines currently are the black managers, black engineers. You can name them. All the skills that they have, they are only working for Neil Froneman. At the end of the day, he cannot pay workers. I think it is quite a high time. If Froneman does not want to give workers this 1,000, you're going to see the shutdown in the platinum. And we are not threatening him. That is what we are going to do until they realize that we are South Africans. These minerals belong to all of us, not only to Froneman. During the COVID 2020-2021, he walloped 66.2 million in bonuses, whereas workers, they have half-pay salaries during the COVID, and Harmony managed to pay workers increment of 1,000. What is it with him? He took our monies, the sweat and the blood of the black workers in majority in South Africa, and went to US and bought mines. He went to Brazil and bought mines. Where did he get that money? It's a South African money. So at the end of the day, when he has to compensate these workers that are toiling for his lifestyle, he cannot give them the salary. I think enough is enough. The unity of AMCU and NUM will change the status quo. Definitely, we are going to interrupt this apartheid structure that is meant for black. This strike is not for us, it's the future of a black child.
Okay, I thought we had lost Joseph from the NUM, but it seems he's back. Let me just ask you one last question, Joseph. What's going to happen come Monday? Are you not backing down? Will you continue marching and striking until your demands are met? Or are you going to wait for the CEO to come out and receive your memorandum?
As long as the workers have not been given increase of 1,000, we are not going to back off. On Monday, we have instructed our general secretaries to meet together to draw up a program of action. That program of action will include to stage a march in a place that is going to be identified where
unfortunately, we can't hear you, Joseph. I think where you are, the connection is very bad. Mr. Mathunjwa, maybe if you can just, in a minute or so, explain to us what the plan of action is come Monday.
Yes, we are not going to hide it. Our general secretaries, they are sitting on Monday. They're going to sit down and plan the next action. Where are we going? Where we will be calling Neil Froneman, Prime Minister Neil Froneman, to come and receive that memorandum. We are not going to back down. We are not apologetic. We are sick and tired of this white monopoly capital that they want to create, what you call it, an endless slavery. I mean, when we give birth to our children, they're becoming as slaves of the white monopoly capital. We are not apologetic to that. This wealth belongs to us here in South Africa. We are not going to enrich the Europeans or the foreign direct investors in our expense. And we call, we call upon our black leaders who are leading us in Africa. They must stop pricing Africa. Africa is not for sale. Africa is for the people of Africa. We have to benefit to this wealth of this country, not other people than us.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. We really do appreciate it. It's just a bit unfortunate that we were unable to speak to the president of NUM, but that was the president. We did kind of speak to him. It was the president of the National Union of Mine Workers, Joseph, as well as AMCU president Joseph Mathunjwa.